What is up, everybody? Matt Modi here with Daily Grind Fantasy, here to talk to you about Monday Night Football, and specifically, I have two DFS slips for you guys to lock in. One on PrizePicks, another one on Underdog. Both of these slips were found using the Daily Grind Fantasy correlation tool, DFS correlation tool. An amazing, amazing tool. The performance really speaks to itself. What it does is it finds plays on these different DFS platforms that are positively correlated with each other. And when I say positively correlated, I mean there is literally a positive correlation to these individual plays. And I can give you a hint. For PrizePicks, the first two plays that we're going to have, both quarterbacks, Brock Purdy and Kirk Cousins, to go over their passing yardage prop. So think about it. We're taking Kirk Cousins and Brock Purdy, both to go over their passing yards prop, right? Well, what would be a positive correlation if the quarterbacks are going over their passing yards? Probably their receivers going over their passing yards, right? And that's the beauty of the correlation tool. It finds plays that are related together, puts them in one slip on these DFS platforms. And the really, really cool part is, no matter what individual plays you add to either of these DFS platforms, you're getting the same exact payout. So like a 6-pick flex on PrizePicks, it's always going to 25x your money. 5-pick on Underdog, 5 picks non-insurance. Depending on insurance, non-insurance, that's going to 20x your money, something around those odds. But if you think about it like the FanDuels and the DraftKings of the world, which I'll talk about in a little bit, if you take a slip that is correlated in a positive way, they're going to decrease the payout of that same game parlay by a significant amount. You're not going to get nearly the same value that you get on the DFS platforms. And in terms of performance, the correlation tool speaks for itself. So basically, what Daily Grind Fantasy did was track every single slip that showed up on the correlation tool. And right now, I have filtered for just the Monday Night Football game. We have college football, NFL, soccer, esports, NBA season starting soon. They're going to get that added to the correlation tool as well. But they track every single slip and just track their performance. And as you can see, since August 18th, they are up 276 units. Now that's roughly 2 months ago. That is basically 133 units, 135, whatever, units per month. That is incredible. Think about it. If you are a $10 unit bettor, you place $10 on every single slip on the correlation tool, you're up like $1,400 per month. 32.14% ROI. That type of success is unheard of. It's incredible. And then the other thing I want to talk about real quick before I get into the individual slip are these two columns here, the correlation score and the profit margin. So the correlation score we see here, 96.12. This number is basically calculated between the correlation coefficient between each leg. And I know that sounds like a mouthful. All you really need to know is it measures how correlated the individual plays are together. The higher, the better. 96.12 is really, really good. Then here we see the profit margin. In this case, for the PrizePicks one, 249.81%. Profit margin takes into account the correlation score and then adds up the profit margin of each individual leg. 250% profit margin is insane. It's ridiculous. And that's what we have here. This is exactly the information we have for the PrizePicks. And we can talk about the slip. So I mentioned the first two legs. Brock Purdy over 236.5 passing yards. Kirk Cousins over 232.5 passing yards. You know what's correlated to both quarterbacks going over their passing yardage prop? Guess what? Receivers going over their receiving yards prop. So we're taking Brandon Ayuk to go over 65.5 receiving yards, and we're taking Jordan Addison to go over 48.5 receiving yards. Those are our first four legs. And then the last two, for expecting a bunch of passing, we're probably not expecting a ton of punts. So guess what? We're taking both the 49ers and the Vikings players, their punters, to go under their numbers. So the 49ers punter under 3.5, the Vikings punter under 4.5. And this is our 6-pick flex on PrizePicks. Now, another question you might have is why 6 picks, right? That seems a little bit scary. That's the most picks you can have on PrizePicks. Obviously, that means you need to have the highest number of picks to hit in order to cash. But in terms of strictly positive expected value, 6 picks is the way to go on PrizePicks. And you can get that information here if you see this little drop down here, why this parlay type. Daily Grind Fantasy tells you we've determined that flex is the best pick type for correlated PrizePicks slips because of the payout structure. That sounds like a mouthful. It's literally saying 6 picks is the best bang for your buck. And I can illustrate that too. So if we go to tools, we go to the DFS Optimizer, and what we can do is right now we're under PrizePicks. This little drop down says positive EV plays. And what it does is it lists each possible option you can take on PrizePicks and then the odds associated with it. So we see 5 pick flex minus 119, 6 picks flex minus 119. Every other option is pretty significantly worse than that. Minus 128, minus 132, minus 140, minus 144, minus 136. So you can see right here exactly why we're choosing a 5 and 6 pick flex. Now, for a 6 pick flex, if you get all 6 to hit, you are 25xing your money. If you get 5 of 6 to hit, you're still making a little bit of money. First of all, FanDuel doesn't even have player props up yet. So if you were waiting to place a Monday Night Football player prop bet, you could not even do this at the time of recording, which is on Friday. That's lame. Let's look at DraftKings. So I put in some of the same slips. I put in Purdy passing, Kirk Cousins passing, Ayuk receiving, Jordan Addison receiving. Unfortunately, DraftKings doesn't offer punts, so I couldn't put that exact number in. But I added 2 other plays, 2 other receiving options, plus 1,700 odds. Remember, PrizePicks is plus 2,500, right? 25x in your money, 25 to 1. That's like an $800, whatever you want to call it, difference between what DraftKings is giving you and between what you are getting by placing this on PrizePicks. It's an amazing, amazing tool. I cannot stress enough how profitable these slips are. Like I said, the results speak for themselves, and just logically, it makes sense too. You're placing these wagers that are correlated together in a positive way. So if one hits, the other one is more likely to hit. DraftKings knows that, so they're nuking the odds. The DFS platforms don't do that, so you're not getting any nuked odds. And when I say nuked, I just mean the payout structure is significantly lower. So this is our first slip, our PrizePicks one. I'll go over it again real quick. Remember, I do have an underdog after this. Brock Purdy over 236.5 passing yards. Kirk Cousins over 232.5 passing yards. Mitch Wishnowsky under 3.5 punts. Ryan Wright under 4.5 punts. Brandon Ayuk over 65.5 receiving yards. Jordan Addison over 48.5 receiving yards. 6 picks that are all correlated together. If we get all 6 to cash, we're 25xing our money. If we get 5 of 6 to cash, we're still making a little bit of money, which is not the case if you take this on DraftKings. So if you put this in on DraftKings and you got 5 of 6, you're losing all of that. You're not losing all of that if you place it on PrizePicks. So next up, underdog slip, 5 pick non-insured. For the same logic, it's the best bang for your buck on underdog. Underdog, there are a couple options that are good. The 5 pick non-insured is one of them, as you can see, minus 122. 5 picks insurance is good too at minus 120. 3 picks non-insured is good as well. But in this case, our best option, according to Daily Grind Fantasy, is 5 picks non-insured. With a correlation score of 91.72%, not quite as good as the PrizePicks one, but still really good, and a profit margin of 150%. Again, it's just crazy. And here we have it. The thing I like about this one, all of the plays are completely different. So you're taking both slips on PrizePicks. Sometimes you'll notice that PrizePicks and Underdog will have the same plays. I love this one because that's not the case. It's completely different. So you could theoretically place both of these slips for Monday Night Football and get both of them to cash out. For the Underdog one, Cameron Bynum, Minnesota Vikings defender, over 2.5 assists. I'm guessing that means tackles as well. Jake Moody, over 1.5 field goals made. That is the 49ers kicker. Kirk Cousins to throw an interception. That one seems obvious. It's Kirk. It's primetime. Probably going to throw an interception. And then 2 Vikings players to go over their tackle plus assist as well. Jordan Hicks over 8.5 tackles plus assists. Josh Metellus over 5.5 tackles plus assists. Rounding out our 5 pick slip for Underdog Fantasy. And again, it tells you why we're choosing 5. The non-insurance is the best pick type correlated for Underdog Fantasy, basically detailing what I already said. It's the best bang for your buck, taking the 5 picks non-insured. I know that the monthly cost might be scary, but think about it from an investment perspective. If you're investing the amount for the monthly cost and you are making just under 140 units per month, depending on your unit size, that's like 14K, that's 1.4K for a $10 unit size. The success is insane. So I highly, highly recommend checking it out. Other than that, remember to like the video, comment, subscribe. All that good stuff is super helpful. Appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.